Dudes and Dudettes, Mr. Theorist here, and welcome back to another Geeky Archive. I am here again with the lovely Draven.
Oh, still no luscious. It's the hair, innit?
Yeah, it's the hair. So you didn't do for me anymore.
Yeah, that's good. That means you won't be chasing me.
I got time to chase you these days, man.
True.
Got a little baby now. Okay, so this week, Dave, we will be covering what exactly?
Egyptian mythology.
Ooh. I've always had a bit of a thing for Egyptian mythology.
It's the longest spanning, civilization. It's one of the longest.
Probably is, isn't it?
Because I mean, that was around at the time of possibly of the Sumerians and Babylonians.
Wow.
Yeah, and Mesopotamians.
See, now you're saying things that I literally recognise the name, and that's about it.
Oh, trust me, I've delved a little bit into them. Because the thing is, especially with them, there isn't much known because they are so old.
Yeah.
And so much is lost to history.
Yeah, you go so far back, it's basically guesswork at that point, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
It's not even like there's any kind of literature. It's just
No.
We know they existed.
We know they possibly worshipped these beings, but that's it.
Cool. So this week, what we're gonna do? You're gonna give us a list of gods. You're gonna go through creation story. What way we're gonna do this week?
Right. So with the Egyptians, the best way to describe it is name the two main deities, and then the creation story comes from those two.
Okay then.
So
I will do my normal. I will sit back. I will do fun comments when necessary, and I'll give you the floor. Off you go.
And I'll put it out there. I might butcher these names because some of them are awkward to say.
So anyone in the comments that's listening, all those lovely friends of ours that listen to these while at work, please do butcher him in the comments.
Into me. It's fine. You do it anyway. So,
mate.
Right. So the gods are split into two groups.
Right.
And as with a lot of these religions, chaos and order.
Cool.
So that's the split.
Kind of good and evil, kind of.
Yes, basically the good and the evil.
Yep.
So the Egyptian words for those two are Ma'at, which is order, and Ishvet, which is chaos.
Okay.
So there is only really one deity of chaos, and that is the chaos snake.
Ooh.
Which is a giant serpent.
Oh, did you see Moon Knight? The TV series Moon Knight. Is that the same? Is it that god?
No, Apophis. It's Apophis.
Like the soul
No,
god,
no. Okay.
That
is a god of order.
Oh, okay then. All right, I'm totally lost. I'll leave you to it. Okay.
Amit is a god of order.
That was it. Amit. That was it. That was the name they used in this show. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, she's crocodile. Sorry, crocodile.
Amit the Devourer.
Yeah.
Not just crocodile. She's basically a chimera creature. She's multiple creatures together.
Okay then.
And the other one in that,
kind of like the Sphinx, where they say the Sphinx is like
the Sphinx
amalgamation.
is lion body, human head.
But some people even suggest that maybe it did have a lion head like ages and ages and ages ago. That's what some people like. I've heard some people talk.
Not a lion. They say that it was originally a statue. The Sphinx that's at Giza was originally a epitaph to Anubis, the jackal-headed god.
Okay. Anyway, we're going off there.
So Apophis, the lord of chaos. Also the god of darkness and night.
Okay.
So basically bleakness, chaos, misery.
Yeah.
The other one you will know the name of. Ra.
Yeah.
The sun god.
Yeah.
Who is also the falcon-headed god. The first king or pharaoh of the gods, because that's what pharaoh means. It literally just means king. But here's where it gets interesting with Ra. Ra has three forms.
Okay.
Because when you consider he is the sun god, the sun goes through phases. You have Khepri Ra, which is the morning sun.
Oh, so it's rise, midday,
and sunset.
sunset.
Yes. Khepri is a scarab. The scarab that you see in a lot of Egyptian things is a
That's
form
also
of Ra.
Okay.
That is a form of Ra.
Interesting.
The next one is Atum Ra. So with these, it's Ra, but it would be Khepri Ra, Atum Ra, who is the afternoon form. So basically, midday. And then the evening form of Ra is Khnum Ra.
Okay.
Who is a ram. Is the ram-headed god.
So we've got
A beetle.
the beetle.
And then Atum Ra is Ra in his full strength.
What does Ra look like in his
A
normal...
falcon-headed god. He's
So
falcon-headed human.
So in the morning he's a beetle, in the midday he's a falcon,
then
at night
he's a ram.
he's a ram. Right.
Yep. So those two.
I know I've said it before, but I say it again. These older religions, they're so much cooler than some of our newer
Yeah.
ones. So much cooler.
So they're the two main ones. So with those two come the creation of the universe. So same as with all of the religions we've spoke of so far, in the beginning there was chaos.
Yep.
But in this one, it was the sea of chaos.
Interesting.
It was a physical sea.
Interesting. So as the Nordic, if I remember correctly from the last video, the Nordic god had like coming from nothingness. From
They
like,
had the fire
basically
and
the very
ice.
beginning of the universe.
Was
kind of thing.
fire, a planet of fire, planet of ice, or realm of ice, realm of fire, and in the middle, where the two met, that's where life sprang from. Here, it's a sea of chaos.
Almost like they've gone closer to like when the Earth was around and it was more water-based kind of thing. That's
remember,
cool.
this is older than the Norse.
Way
older.
Yeah.
So, from that sea, the first land rose, and Ra came with it, the first god.
Okay.
And on that first bit of land was the obelisk of order.
Okay.
And so from that, that's where order came from. So everything that we see around us came from the Sea of Chaos.
Okay.
So at the time Ra emerged, so did Apophis, because the two cannot exist without each other.
Balance, man. Balance.
Yep, they believed in balance. You cannot have chaos without order, and keep that in mind, because one of the ones I'll mention later plays into that as well.
Okay.
When those two rose, because they were opposing forces, they fought.
Okay.
And that is an eternal fight.
Cool.
Because once that fight ends,
Everything
the world
dies.
ends.
Typical. Yeah. Cool.
So basically, that came into being.
Yep.
Ra was the first god. He then brought forth other gods.
Yep.
Gods such as Shu, Tefnut, Khnum, Khonshu, Nut, Geb.
Khonshu. There's another one where
Yes,
I met,
you know that one?
That's from Moon Knight as well.
Yes.
That
So then they came into being.
one is.
And then Nut and Geb fell pregnant.
Nut and
Geb.
and they are all gods of order. They're part of the gods of order.
These are all gods of order.
Okay.
Literally, there is only one god of chaos. All the rest, there's one god of chaos. The rest are gods of order.
Okay.
I'll explain more when I get on, because it gets a bit interesting with parts of it. Nut fell pregnant, but Ra had heard a prophecy that one of her children would overthrow him.
Oh, great! We're down to this old nutmeg, like the Greeks were.
But
what is it with God getting pregnant and getting really scared about it?
It's power. It's power. But basically, Ra turned round to Nut and said, "You shall not give birth on any day of the year."
So does she have to only give birth at night or something?
No. Even at night, she could not give birth.
Oh, she can't give birth. Period.
now take this into account. At this point, there are only 360 days to the year.
Okay.
Because it's a full circle.
Yeah, so it's a year, yeah.
So, bearing in mind, so Nut then went to Khonshu,
Yep.
the god of the moon. Now, because he's the god of the moon, he has power over time as well.
Yeah, that was seen in
you see him moving and changing things.
Time, yeah.
So, basically, she went to him for his help. Now, Khonshu was a gambler.
Okay.
And she made a wager.
Right.
And so they played that. She won. And she won enough moonlight to create 5 more days.
So hang on, was it 360?
It was 360.
And then
she won enough moonlight with the wager to create 5 more days.
The last 5 days of the year.
Which are considered demon days.
Okay.
And the ancient Egyptians believed that any magic performed on them days carried risks.
Okay. Compared to the 360, where it's like, no, fine, you do what you magic.
No, they believed that because the 360 were given by Ra.
They're the good days, and the last 5 that
were a bit
outside of their
Ra's
gods.
creation.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So obviously she did that. She won the days, and she gave birth to. Well, right. This is where it slightly deviates a little bit. There's 2 versions to it.
Okay.
So she then gave birth to 5 children.
Yep.
Osiris, Nephthys, Isis, Set, and Horus.
Okay, I recognise most of them.
You will do, because they are the most commonly known ones.
There was one you said in the middle of that.
Nephthys.
Yeah, that's the one I don't recognise.
That's the lesser known of the 5.
Okay.
So Osiris is god of the dead. Set, right? Nephthys, goddess of water.
Yep.
Isis, goddess of magic, and I think motherhood as well. Horus, god of war.
Yep.
A falcon-headed god. Now this is where it gets. This is where I said about remembering about chaos and order against each other.
Okay.
The other one is Set.
That rings a bell.
God of chaos.
Right. So she gave birth to another god
but
of chaos.
He is chaos within order.
Right.
He is actually the strongest of Ra's lieutenants.
Is that because he's a balance though? Because he's
He is the balance of chaos within order.
Cool.
This is what
I like
mean.
him.
Yeah.
I like him.
So he was a villainous god, and he did cause trouble. But when it came to the fight between Ra and Apophis, so between order and chaos,
right,
he was with Ra.
I feel sorry for this chaos god, right? He's rocking up in this great eternal fight, all on his own against like how many?
Numerous.
Yeah.
Numerous.
Like 10 against 1. That seems unfair. That does.
So then, with that, and so bearing in mind we said about the prophecy that Ra heard.
Yep.
Basically, Isis was power hungry. She wanted her husband Osiris to rule. So she tricked Ra. Which, right, so the way you've got to understand it is the Egyptians, and this is including their gods, humans, they believed the human body was split into 9 parts. So you got the soul, the physical body, the spiritual body, personality, the heart, the shadow, the power, the intellect. And the key one is the secret name, their true name. That if learnt, had power over that person.
Interesting.
So, and everyone has a true name.
That's interesting because obviously we're going to go into angel and demonology in the next one. In that, don't they have something similar when it comes to the demons? Like, that's because if I remember correctly,
if you have a demon's name, you have power over it.
Okay.
Yes. So, with that, basically, Isis wanted her husband to rule.
Mm-hmm.
So she would do anything to try and get him to rule. So she created a snake that bit and poisoned Ra.
Oops.
I don't know why you're saying oops, she did it deliberately.
Oh no, poor Ra.
And this is where it comes in, again, with the chaos within order. She was slightly chaotic as well.
Uh-oh.
And she knew that the poison that was in that snake could only be cured by a spell only she knew.
She had to learn her secret name.
And the only way for the spell to work was to have Ra's true name.
Was that Ra's true name?
Yes.
Okay.
The only way to cure him, she needed his true name. And by learning his true name,
she had
power over him. And
so this is like a big, massive, like, chess game going on. Like, I'm going to poison him, and then the only way he can be cured is if I learn his name, which then gives me power over... Oh my god.
Yeah, and so...
Bloody low-key of the Egyptian gods this girl is.
So, basically, Ra gave his true name to her, cured him, but because of it, he felt shame. Because she, a lesser god, now had power over him. So he retreated to the sunboat and left the earth.
Okay.
Which then put Osiris on the throne. So he was now Pharaoh of all.
The god of the dead.
This was before he became the god of the dead.
Okay.
So he was Pharaoh, because he was not Pharaoh for long.
Okay.
Because once he became Pharaoh, he ruled for a little bit. But the problem was, his brother Set craved the throne.
Just before we go any further, you say that they ruled over. Is this before the time of humans? Is this like, at this point, is it literally just gods about? Is that what at this
no,
point
because
in mythology is?
with the Egyptians, there is no specific time as to when humans were created.
Okay.
So it's, did they emerge out of the Sea of Chaos? Were they created by Ra? Were they created by some of the other gods? Because there are multiple creator deities. It's never been specifically pinpointed as to when humanity began.
Okay.
But so that obviously, like we were saying, Set craved his throne.
Mm-hmm.
So then there was a fight between Osiris and Set.
Right.
Set won, and he, just to make his win final, he cut his brother into thousands of pieces.
Again, sounds familiar. Kind of like when they did to the Titan. Was it a Titan?
Yeah, the Titan. Yep. Yeah. Kronos. And then, so obviously, then Set took the throne.
Mm-hmm.
Osiris was obviously he was dead.
Yeah.
He couldn't do anything. He was in the Duat, which is the Egyptian underworld.
He was in the what?
Duat. D-U-A-T.
Okay, I thought you were calling me a bad name.
No, not unless you piss me off. So obviously, Isis was furious. She was upset because her plan had failed.
Yeah.
She tried to get her husband on the throne and it failed.
Right.
So she then set out to find the pieces of Osiris. Thinking,
I'm putting back together again.
Thinking, because she was she was sometimes called the mistress of magic.
Mm-hmm.
She thought she could put him back together because of her extensive and powerful magic.
Okay.
So she went around, she found all the pieces and put him back together.
Yep.
But because he had died, and the part of his, and this is where, like I said, the 9 parts of the body.
Yeah.
She managed to get them as well, and using parts of that, so like the shadow, the true name, putting him back together, but it didn't work. He never fully revived.
Okay.
So he then became the king of the dead, which is why when you look at pictures of him, he is blue-skinned.
Right, so he didn't come back properly.
No. He came back, but not fully.
Explained why?
Not really, no. I think it was because there was maybe, I think part of it, one story says there was parts missing, like she couldn't fully find, like with the soul, there's the shadow, which is the final essence of the person.
Mm-hmm.
If the shadow is gone, they can never come back. Once the shadow's gone, they are gone.
Interesting. Almost like if your past is erased, then you can't become back, like, because the shadow is cast because of the light shining on you and it's behind you all the time.
Yeah.
That's how I would kind of perceive it, like.
But it wasn't just that, it was the physical shadow
Yeah,
as well. And also the shadow of the person themselves. So, obviously, like I was saying that. And then, right, so this is where I said as well, it deviates. So that's one bit. The other bit follows primarily the same story.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from the fact that Horus wasn't a child of Nut and Geb.
Okay.
He was a child of Osiris and Isis.
Okay.
And he was conceived from Osiris's dismembered dick.
You know, why not?
They're gods. What
Gods,
do
but
we
they,
know?
but they could kill each other, couldn't they?
Yes.
And they were, and so with these were classed as like the first pharaohs of Egypt then as
Yes.
well. Interesting.
And on that, a lot of the pharaohs believe, because there was the House of Life, which was the magicians of the Egyptian times,
Mm-hmm.
and basically no one was above the pharaoh.
Yep.
But the pharaoh was also considered a magician, and because they had the royal line, they could host gods. So they could literally host the divine beings in them. So a lot of the pharaohs believed they hosted, most of the time, Horus.
That sounds like the ruling class being like, oh, no, you can't take our place because
I'm divine.
we're divine.
Yes, which is why when you look at a lot of things, especially when it comes to the Egyptians, the pharaoh's word was law.
Okay, cool.
So with that one, so the two versions that.
So the only real difference between the two versions is
how Horus was born.
Who's Horus's parents?
Yes. So in the main one, first one I said, that's more of like a sidelined one. The second one, where Horus is the child of Osiris and Isis, is one that's more followed, because then that flows into how Horus became the pharaoh.
Okay.
So obviously his dad's been killed by his uncle.
Right.
So he trains to fight.
Okay.
To fight Set. So he challenges him and wins. So then that is how Horus became the pharaoh of the gods and the pharaoh of Egypt.
Another thing that's really interesting with all these like much older religions is the gods are much more human personified than some more recent ones.
Yes.
Like you look at these gods and it's almost like they are just really powerful humans that just came before the rest of us. Whereas when you look at like Christianity and Judaism and stuff, it's like their god is more
the be all and end all.
Yeah, like they're above reproach. Like it's better than everyone else. Like grander than humanity itself, kind of thing. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
These older religions are.
Yep. So that's basically the creation story.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there is another story, but I'll talk about that later. I mentioned a bit earlier. Is like the battle between order and chaos.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that in a minute, or maybe in a bit. Who knows? So some of the other gods that I mentioned.
Right.
So these are considered the second generation of gods.
Yep.
So you have Shu.
So when do these guys come into it then?
These are the ones that were created. The thing is, it's one of them ones. It's not fully known whether they were created by Ra or came into existence after Ra.
Okay.
Because the thing is as well, because some of them are also creator gods.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said,
so many degrees of confusion.
It can get confusing.
I'm already there, mate. My brain's already trying to hold on here.
Yep. So Shu is the god of the winds.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had 2 children, Geb and Nut. Yes.
Wait, what?
The mother and father of the 5 that we mentioned were brother and sister.
But I thought they came before these guys did.
Yes. Geb and Nut came before Osiris, Set, Isis, Nephthys, and Horus.
But not this wind dude.
No. This is what I mean. Some were creator gods, some were being. It's that, yeah.
Oh, God.
So Geb is the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Nut is the sky. So when you see in the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, you've got a god lying down and then a god arched over.
I don't know my hieroglyphs. I'll take your word for it,
Well,
mate.
no. It's like when you see hieroglyphic paintings on walls and that.
Yeah, I know what you mean, mate, but...
Yeah, so basically that is those 2.
I will keep an eye out for them after this.
And the one that you know, Khonshu.
Yeah, Khonshu.
The god of moon, time, and youth.
Cool, yeah.
So, and he's a falcon-headed god. So
Yep.
the thing is, some of the gods are human-headed, some are animal-headed.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So then obviously we've spoke about the 5. So Nephthys, the one that you'd not heard of.
Yeah.
The god of mourning, lamentation, sleep, rivers, the night, and protector of the dead.
So mourning, is that as in mourning as in...
Not
grief?
more. Yes.
As in grieving?
Yes.
Okay.
And so they're the main ones. They're the main ones that most people know of when they study this.
Yeah.
But then there are other gods.
Okay.
Right, I possibly could butcher this one. I don't know. This is another creator god. Ptah.
Sounds about right.
P-T-A-H.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of and spaces when it comes to
Yes,
Egyptian stuff, isn't
there is. He is the god of craftsmen.
Okay, cool.
So another one that you might actually know is Anubis.
Oh yeah, I know Anubis. Anubis, he's the badass one that gave the...
Jackal-headed god.
Yeah, he's the one that gave the mummy his powers and stuff, didn't he?
In the film, yeah.
No, not the mummy. Sorry, Scorpion King.
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson. Yeah.
He is the god of the dead, not death. Or there's 2 gods.
Because you have to have them separated.
Yes.
Of course.
He is also the god of funerals and embalming.
Okay.
So when they wrap them in the cloths to turn them
Yeah.
into mummies, he was the god overseeing that.
But they only really did that to like the pharaohs and stuff, didn't they? The whole embalming and everything. That was more for the higher ups in society.
Most of the time, yes, but there has been cases of some people being embalmed, basically being embalmed more crudely done to the lower class citizens.
Yeah. None care and attention put into it.
Yeah, basically. One that you might like, Babi, god of baboons.
Why would I like the god of baboons? What?
Oh, here's another one you might like the name of. Happy.
Literally called Happy.
H-A-P-I.
Is that how you say it? Let's have a quick look.
God of the Nile.
God of the Nile.
Yep, the River Nile.
Oh, is that the That's not the hippo god, is it?
No, we'll get to that one.
Carry on. I'm just gonna see how we pronounce.
Yes, yeah, because it's one of them ones. It's interesting. No, put Egyptian god.
Oh god. See that?
There, ancient Egyptian Nile god.
So how would you?
Wait, it's not done it.
Bing, what the heck, Bing? Are you? Here we go.
Yep.
Okay, so blue.
Yep.
I just want to know how you name it. That's all. That's all I want to do. Just wanna... Right, it's because we're not on Google.
Yeah,
Bing
we're not on Google.
Bing is awful.
It is.
I see why everyone memes the heck out of Bing being awful now. You type it on Google, I bet it was perfect the first time we come up.
Pronunciation just there.
There we go. Just for all those lovely people listening at home.
So that's how it's spelled in ancient Egyptian. But that doesn't say.
Just tell us how to say it. That's all we want. Alright, let's. Oh, okay.
Happy God.
Happy God.
Happy God. Thank you. We are nowhere closer. Thank you very much for that. Anyway,
yeah.
Internet.
We're getting distracted.
Carry on, mate. Carry on. I'll see if I can find a way of it being said.
So, another one that you might know is Sobek.
Sobek rings a bell.
The crocodile god of water. He's literally a crocodile-headed god of the water. He's also one of the lieutenants of Ra. And his most fiercest fighter.
Okay.
Another one is Thoth.
Thoth.
Yep. Another god of the moon.
Okay.
But also...
The moon has to have more than one.
Yep. But also he's the god of writing and scribes.
Scribes. Hey.
So he was a god of knowledge. He held all of the knowledge of, well, basically everything. Because it's unknown whether he was there at the creation of the universe or he was told about it, but he has knowledge of the creation.
Okay. So he's like the librarian, kind of holds all
Yes.
the knowledge of
Yeah.
it all. Okay, cool.
And here's something fun for you. He's a bird-headed god.
Bird!
So the bird is the word.
Did you have that joke written down?
No, but I had. It's been always in my head when I'm talking Egyptian.
Good tell. You said it.
Yep. Oh yes. I've been waiting.
Bird. Don't. Set me off in a minute.
That's the point. So there's some of the gods.
Yep.
Some of the goddesses. The one you were talking about, the hippo goddess,
Yeah.
is protector of pregnant women.
Mm-hmm.
Tarawet.
Ah, yes.
Which, she is seen in the Moon Knight show.
Yeah.
Tarawet.
She's the one that helps the main character balance his soul out.
Yes. Another one is Nekbet, a vulture goddess and protector of the pharaohs.
Okay.
So she was the main protector of pharaohs.
That's the raw line.
Yes. Right. So here's another one. Ma'at was actually a goddess as well.
Okay.
Was the goddess of truth, justice, and order.
Okay.
So it gets confusing because Ra's the god of order, but there was also a goddess who's order.
Well, that's good. Representation and all.
Yep. So three other ones, sorry. And these are to do with, you've probably heard the term, the Eyes of Ra.
Yes.
Who are the loyalist and fiercest protectors of Ra. The first Eye of Ra was actually one goddess, but had two forms.
So the Eye of Ra is like a group of gods.
No. There's one deity that stands at the right-hand side of Ra and protects him from Apophis. He's constantly fighting Apophis with Ra.
Apophis must be like some mega powerful god.
Yes.
Because Ra needs to have all these people
The
on his
world
side.
ends when Apophis swallows the sun.
Oh.
So basically, when Apophis swallows Ra and defeats him, the world ends.
Interesting. So when the sun goes out, basically the end of our universe. Interesting. See, this is the thing. I know we've talked about it before in some of these other podcasts when we talked about these religions. It does seem that their mythologies, or their like the origins and certain elements of their religions and stuff, they seem to get things right that we have discovered like eons later. Like with the Greek gods, with it all coming from chaos, or as in like nothingness, which is the beginning of the universe. Like just there, like when Apophis swallows the sun, when the sun dies off. Like, it's so interesting. Yep. It's so interesting. So the first one, who's considered the first Eye of Ra, is right. So one of her forms is Hathor, who is a cow goddess. Is goddess of sky, sun, sexuality, motherhood, music, dance, and the afterlife. Because that has any connection with the cow.
Her other side
Yeah.
is Sekhmet, who is a lion goddess
Cool.
of destruction, violence, and warding off disease. And there is a story with this one.
Right.
The reason she is no longer the Eye of Ra is Sekhmet, the Sekhmet side of her, was too bloodthirsty.
So Ra was like,
too
nah.
violent. And it got to the point where even Ra...
How come she has her two sides then? Does it explain why she's got two sides?
From what I've done research, and from what I can see, I haven't found anything that specifically says why she has two sides.
Okay.
But there is a lot of duality with Egyptian
Which is good.
religion.
I'm always down for duality and balance and all that stuff.
So basically, they managed to get Sekhmet under control and return her to Hathor by tricking her into drinking wine, thinking it was blood.
Right.
And because she drank so much, she passed out.
Okay.
And returned to Hathor. And after that, she was no longer the Eye of Ra. She was taken off that duty because she was too bloodthirsty.
Lost your job, dear.
Yeah. And then
word to all you kids out there: don't murder too many people, because if you do, you lose your job.
Duh.
I know, right? So people might not have thought that. Okay. Okay.
Who knows? So the second Eye of Ra is Bast.
Bast.
The cat goddess.
Oh, kitty cat.
Yep, a kitty cat. Who is goddess of the rising sun, everything that's sacred, protection, and the all-seeing eye.
Ah, the all-seeing eye.
Yes. Comes from Egypt.
Interesting.
Because, well, as you know from one of my tattoos, that is the Eye of Horus.
Yeah.
The Eye of Ra is the flip.
Ah, it's the other side, it's the other eye.
Yep. And they represent, so Ra's eye represents the sun. Horus's eye is the moon.
Okay.
So the duality of the eyes.
Yeah.
Seeing both. Yep. It is interesting.
I know that society was really, really crap back then, but the religions were so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
So, and again, with duality, there's two gods that were both male and female.
Okay.
You have Kek, who is chaos and destruction.
Yep.
Never mentioned whether she's on the side of order or chaos. It's never mentioned whether she's on which one she's on.
Okay.
The other,
but she did come from Ra, though.
Never mentioned it. It's
not just one that just appears.
It's not said where she came from.
Okay.
The other is He.
Is what?
He. H-E-H.
He.
Infinity. The infinite.
Cool.
So that's some of the gods. The thing is with the Egyptians, there was so many, and some of the names have been lost.
Yeah.
some it's so vast because obviously the Empire was.
What we've gone over is just melted my brain. Like so.
Oh, I've not done yet.
Oh god.
I've not done yet.
Okay, we're just gonna have a little recap to make sure my brain's absorbed what we've known so far. So there are two gods.
Yep.
Ra and Memphis.
Apophis.
Apophis.
If it's easier for you to say, he does have another name, Apep.
Don't give me another name. That's gonna confuse me more. So Apophis and Ra are the two gods that when they fight and when they have their final fight, the world ends. All the shenanigans that usually comes along with
Right, not final fight.
Oh, that when their fight ends.
They fight every day.
Yeah. So when their fight is finally over, the world ends.
The world ends. Yes.
That kind of. He made a bunch of lieutenants.
A bunch of other gods
to help him fight Apophis, and they all represent different elements. But we've also got some other gods that we don't know where they came from, but they themselves represent other elements as well. And the gods also are the pharaohs who rule over Egypt as well.
Horus is the main one for that.
Okay.
Because he is considered the pharaoh of the gods, most of the pharaohs of Egypt channeled Horus.
Channeled Horus.
Basically, they could host this part of the spirit.
So they bullshitted society into going, hey, I've got Horus inside me, guys. You've got to bow down and listen to my words.
Yep.
Sounds like priests. Sounds like priests in our modern era.
Yep.
I speak to God. Listen to me.
Yep. Oh, it never changes.
Okay. And like some of the other religions we've covered, all these gods. There's basically so many of them that they represent almost the key elements of.
They represent everything in the world.
Okay. So is there any other major things I missed out on that recap?
No, you've pretty much covered the majority of it.
Right.
Apart from the intermingling and the infighting.
So this is why we are just a Geeky archive and we're not Wikipedia, because Jesus Christ, my brain is already just.
And even I don't know everything. This is just done from research off my own back. And I haven't actually properly.
But you remember loads of this, and I remember we have casual conversations where you bring up all these various things and they're just in your head. Like
my mind's full of useless information.
I feel impressed with myself about TV shows and movies, and you've got like 8 different religious mythologies in your head all the time, and they're not even like simple things. Movies and TV shows at least are semi-coherent at times. Oh my god. Right.
Mate, I've spent years doing this. Years. And you forget, I create my own worlds as well.
Okay, so you said there's more.
Yep. So going back to what you said, the fight between Ra and Apophis is literally a daily fight. Every day.
Now, is there any like representation in the world that sees that fight happen?
The rise and fall of the sun.
Okay.
So, right. So basically, so you've got, the best way to see it is you've got the human world.
Mm-hmm.
Underneath it, you have the Duat, which is the underworld.
Yeah.
So those two sit on top of each other.
Uh-huh.
So basically, as the sun passes over, Ra changes his forms.
Yeah.
As opposed to the sun. So when he gets to the setting sun, the way they believed it, the sun sets because Ra goes into the underworld.
And is that why he fights Apophis
Right.
there?
Yes, but not straight away. Because there are 12 gates of the Duat.
Oh god, this is freaking numbers and shit now.
So
12 gates of what?
12 gates along the river of the underworld.
Right, okay.
Each representing various aspects of sleep.
Okay.
Some are known about, some are said, some aren't, because and it's actually interesting because it is kind of backed up by science that we know today.
Like REM.
The phases, REM sleep,
REM
the
sleep.
different phases of sleep.
Okay.
So some parts of it are where, like REM sleep, which is the deep sleep.
Yeah. Was that when the last gates?
No, nothing. is that it's literally just a nice gentle river that they just flow through.
Okay.
So that's what I mean, but there are various things along the river.
Okay.
Actually, no, sorry, scratch that. REM sleep, I think, is associated with the House of Rest in the Duat. So basically, so as it passes, he goes under. But so at the beginning of the day, he's Kepri Ra. Goes over, becomes Amun Ra, then Kanum
Beetle,
Ra,
Falcon,
Ram.
Ram.
Yep. So then, when
What form does it tell you what form he takes when he enters the Duat then?
Ram.
He stays as a Ram throughout.
No, he goes down as the Ram, but then it's never mentioned what form he is throughout.
Okay.
It's said that some sources I've seen say he reverts to just his human form. So he's just a standard human passing through the underworld.
Right.
So then as he passes through, and he passes through 12 gates, going through and he goes through on the sunboat, which is what pulls the sun across the sky. So then as he goes through the gates, he's different things, changes to different things to do different tasks throughout his time in the underworld. So then he passes through the Hall of Osiris, which is the Hall of the Dead. So which is where the souls of the dead live. Also in that hall is Anubis and Amit, the one we spoke about, Amit the Devourer, who is the Devourer of Souls.
Okay. As she did in
Yep.
Midnight.
So as they get to the Hall of Osiris is basically also called the Hall of Judgment.
Okay.
So when a soul reaches the Hall of Judgment, their heart is taken out of their chest
And weighed on the scales.
weighed on the scales against the feather of Ma'at. If it's heavier than the feather, they're killed. And
Yeah, this was shown in.
yep,
in
if it's
Midnight as
lighter,
well.
they pass on into the afterlife. So that all happens, and Ra sees that every night as he passes through.
Okay.
And on his journey, he takes rest in the Hall of Osiris. So, going through all of that, and then, so the fight we were talking about happens at the 12th gate.
Okay.
The last gate, which is the gate to the human world. So, Ra must win that fight for the sun to rise again.
So it's almost. So it's almost like it's a celebration for him, isn't it?
Yes,
like
when
every
the sun
time
rose,
rises,
they
it means
so-
that
they-
Ra still
Ra
won the
won.
fight.
They can live another day.
Yeah.
They're saved. They're not
God,
going to be killed.
God, imagine what happened like when an eclipse happened. I bet that shit them up, didn't it?
It would do, yeah, because they
Ooh.
feared that it was the end, that Apophis had caught
Apophis
Ra.
caught Ra and was
Yeah.
devouring him.
Yep. So,
Oh my God! Apophis has defeated Ra, and then a few seconds later, oh, that's a long, guys.
yeah,
Oh, so long.
they'd be like, oh, no, Ra's defeated him. Yeah. So, that happened at the 12 gate. So, Ra won, would win every day, rise, and he would rise as Kepri Ra, the morning sun,
Yep.
do the phases, and then again every day.
Okay.
And that would happen every day until the end, in which Apophis would win and swallow the sun, and the sun would never rise
Hasn't
again.
happened yet though.
Nope.
Still got a sun rising.
Yep. So yeah, that's basically the battle of order versus chaos.
Cool.
So, and that would happen basically every day, and if the sun rose, Ra won, and that's how they saw it.
It's nice. It's a nice way of like
Yeah.
giving meaning basically to every day that you're alive, which
Yeah.
is like the God that everyone
The creator, one of the creator gods, is fighting for us.
Yeah.
Basically, because if Apophis swallowed the sun, the next target would be creation itself, and there would be no one to protect it, because Apophis could overpower the gods. The only ones that could stand up against him were Ra and Bast. But even Bast wasn't fully strong enough to defeat him on her own. So, so that's the whole general thing. That's the main story.
Yep.
There is lesser known aspects to the story.
You want to go over a couple of them?
Well, there's one in particular I'm going to cover because
Yep.
a lot of them there's hardly anything known about them. So I don't want to say things and get it wrong because even I'm still learning with some stuff of it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
So the bit I'm going to talk about is the Ogdoad.
That sounds familiar.
It will do, Hellboy. Ogdu Jihad.
No. The original name you said.
Ogdoad.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Is a group of 8 creator deities who came before Ra and Apophis.
Right.
Yes.
This might have been what I've heard about.
Yeah, these are the creators. They created everything and set everything into order.
So before even Ra and stuff?
Before Ra and Apophis.
Okay.
So the group of 8, there are 4 male, 4 female.
Cool.
But the thing is, the way it was seen is the male and female were counterparts to each other.
Yeah.
So it was 8 deities, but it was, strictly speaking, 4 deities because it was the male and female sides of each.
Yeah.
So you have Nu and Naunet, which are the same being.
Yep. But one is male,
one's male, one's female. And they are the primordial waters. So, the Sea of Chaos. They are the Sea of Chaos themselves.
Okay. That everything else eventually came from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you have Hehu and Hehunet. Hehut, sorry. Who are time and also the atmosphere between heaven and earth. So but that gap between where the humans dwelled and the gods dwelled.
Okay.
Then you have Kukui and Kekuet.
Right.
Primordial darkness.
So we've got gods of the Sea of Chaos, gods of time
and darkness.
And one of darkness.
And then the other one, now I'm going to butcher this because it is hard to say, especially for English speakers. Well, I'll just spell it out. It's Qerh.
Quahra?
I think so.
Quahra?
So that's the male one.
Quahra?
And then the female one is Qerhet. So Qerhet. So I think it's Quahet.
Quahet?
I think.
Quahet?
Yeah. And they are the hidden ones.
I'm not surprised with names like that. You can't freaking say.
Yeah. So they're the unseen.
Okay.
That is their realm, the unseen.
Alright.
So they're the 8 creator beings.
So by unseen, is that like, does that represent like anything that we don't know or things like that? Cool.
And they are the primordial beings. So the primordial waters, time, darkness, and the unseen.
And do they exist at the same time as
they exist
all the others? Throughout.
Eternally.
Oh yeah, because well, they are the primordial waters. They are time.
Yeah,
they are.
They exist eternally.
So they are manifestations of
yes.
the purest parts of our
yes.
world, basically.
Yep.
Kind of similar to the primordials in the Greek
yep.
mythology.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
You look completely baffled.
I am. My brain has just leaked. Just the absorption of all this new stuff that I'm going to have to... I'm going to go back and re-listen to this video when we're done.
Yeah.
Just... Right. So, there are 4, but technically 8 gods. Well,
of the Ogdoad.
Primordial beings.
Yep.
That are the fundamental pillars of our
yes.
existence. Did they? So are they the reason that all the others exist then? Like because of them, that's where Ra and
Apophis. It's not known much as to how they connect to the others, as in like whether they created them or not, or how things like that. It's just they are kind of there.
Right.
And obviously with the creation story, Ra and Apophis emerged from the primordial sea of chaos.
Yeah.
Who is two of the Duad. So it could be said that they came from the old
They
Duad.
could be the children of.
But it's never been said.
It never officially states.
Yeah.
Just that these gods, the original primordials created existence, and then from them, everything else basically appeared and started to form.
Pretty much, yeah.
See, I wanted to let you go through it before it, but when we talked about how, like, you had the world started off as the Great Sea, and then land came up from after, that's really interesting, because modern science, obviously, now that we understand evolution and everything, which is quite interesting, we go in all these... As anyone listening to this knows, we go heavy into these religions, but we do also accept that science is right? We evolution definitely happens.
The way I see it, one cannot exist without the other.
Yeah, same.
Because
exactly the same.
Science can explain things, but there are things science can't explain.
Science might one day explain.
Yeah.
Very much so.
But if that's the case, it might actually then prove the existence of superior beings.
Yeah. Or at least...
Or
the fact that
the fundamentals
in some way our ancient ancestors were able to tap into whatever these whatever realm these beings exist in.
Yes.
Yeah. We know we have a very similar kind of like.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So I was going to say though that they say that you have the sea and then land came afterwards, but we know from evolution that we all started off basically as fish.
Or microorganisms in the water.
And we and then life eventually came onto land, and then that would evolve into more land-dwelling stuff. So that's really interesting. Even way back then, before they even had any knowledge of that shit, they knew that we came from the water onto land. It just... There's so much old, ancient, like, societies. They were so more on board with some of the stuff than we knew. So much so. And that's why I think there is... I don't want to go too much into conspiracy territory, but the idea of, like, there being these older civilizations that came before our own that understood the fundamentals of the world around us, and maybe that is where a lot of these super old religions get their info from. Like, I think some of the new ones are probably like lesser, like they're more broken down, more easy to absorb versions of the older religions we had.
A lot of the older religions, there was so much complexity to it.
Yeah, exactly. So I always feel like the newer ones that they talk about, this is how the world began, this is that. Like, I feel that they are more taking what we used to know and altering it to suit society as now.
Whereas in the olden times, society was based around the religion.
But it feels like those societies, they knew. There was so much they were.
Or even if they didn't. Even if the thing is, we know all of this now.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like with the Greeks and the Egyptians in particular, because they had so many deities, some people didn't know about all of them. Yeah. Some people only worshipped certain ones.
But it's the fact they had deities for those things.
And there was, and it's been noted in history that one of the pharaohs, I believe it was an ancestor of Tutankhamun, tried to actually turn the Egyptian beliefs into a monotheistic religion.
Huh. Interesting.
He actually wanted to do it where the only god that was worshipped was Ammon, the sun disk. But obviously the society were like, nope.
Yeah. Humans trying to take upon themselves to rechange the history books, basically, isn't it?
Yep.
This is why I could not fully ever disregard religion as a whole and things like that, because I feel that there is some worth to accepting to a degree.
Oh yeah.
At the very,
People's
very
beliefs.
least, these religions are just really poor retellings of history.
Yeah.
Really poor retellings of history.
Well, the thing is as well, a lot of it that we know now and we can research now was literally word of mouth.
Yeah.
It was. Some of it was wrote down, but
So
a lot.
used to say what the old stories actually used to be.
Exactly.
Maybe they were based more in a
fact.
Realistic, factual
Yeah.
basis than the
But then
mystical
over
fantasy
time,
that we created ourselves.
over time, it just got. It developed, got changed. I mean, Chinese whispers
Yeah.
says it all.
Exactly. Well, that is another one of these insane religious mythology videos. And next one we're doing is
Yours.
I've got to decide what
Yep.
I'm doing next. I think I'm either doing Westworld. I think I probably will do Westworld. I think Westworld would be a nice, interesting one
Yep.
to do. And then your one after that, we're going into Christian mythology, are
Yep.
we?
And it depends on which side you want to do, good or evil.
Oh, dude, you choose, mate. We could even do an extra long one, and you could see how much we could do in that. Oh, is it that much? It might be a part 1 and part 2 then.
Angelology and demonology is long.
Alright, then we might have to do it in 2 parts then.
Because, well, especially the demonology side.
Cool.
There's 7 princes, 4 queens, 72 pillars.
You already lost me, mate. I didn't even know any of it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's going to be a fun one to go over.
Oh, yeah.
I think we'll give our nice viewers a nice, simple Westworld.
Yep.
Even though Westworld is actually, there's some really complex ideas in that show.
Yeah.
I still think it's going to be much more easier to digest than some of this stuff. Woo!
Eh. Well,
Yeah.
how do you think I'm able to create some of the stuff I do?
Anyway, thank you very much.
Yep.
That was another enlightening take on a religion and mythology, and we hope everyone at home
Yep.
has enjoyed this one. Please, guys, if Dave has, see, you've melted my brain, man. I can't even remember what your online
Draven.
name is now. Draven, thank you. If Draven butchered any of these, if you
I
are,
did.
if you are a viewer from
Egypt
or anywhere
or speak the
that
language.
speaks the language, or you are like
A
really
student of
into
languages.
this stuff, and you're sitting there wincing every time he said a name wrong, please put in the comments.
Yeah, I need because if I'm saying them wrong, I need to know. Because I know some of them are difficult to say.
If you like the video, guys, please hit the like button. If him butchering the names has made you hate this video, then dislike as well.
Whatever.
Any
Or
kind of
if you just want to have a laugh.
any interaction is good interaction
Yep.
as far as this channel is concerned. And as always, guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And me and Luscious Draven.
Hey, there we go.
Thought it's a nice little cat. We will see you in the next video, guys.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.